Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Tournament of Champions 2023 DraftKings picks and preview. Reminder to smash the like button to the episode. Sub to Mayo Media Network if you missed the research show or the picks and bet show with Jeff Feinberg. After this, go download them, go like them, go watch them. Please go do that. But first, a reminder to play in the DraftKings Listeners League. There's around 1,200 spots remaining. Lineup lock is going to be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday because we're out in Hawaii. So you do have all Thursday morning to tweak your lineups, make terrible decisions, get off the winner. You know how that ends up working. Also, the one and done, Steam is picking up. Spots are filling up very quickly. There's just over, I believe, 1,400 spots left. I assume that'll be like 200 by next Monday. So go get your spot in the race for the Mayo Cup right now. It's $125 to play, 5 max entry, and there's $50K to first place, $35,000 to second place. Toe Tag and Tambo, Tyler Tamboline of RunPureSports.com, and the Fantasy Golf Degenerates Pod, two things which will be featured on Mayo Media Network during golf season, is here in studio. Hello.
Excited to be back. You said second for $35K and then came right to me. Are you insinuating something, Pat? I really want to win first place in that. I've got my entries.
The first place is mine. Everyone else is playing for second. You can have it.
Yeah, I've got you. If you're not in incredible tournament, I've had a lot of people reach out, DMAs or any one and done leagues, all that. There's other leagues there, but like the $125, 5 max, $50K up top, even payout structure, definitely something that you want to get in. I'm excited for it this year. Got multiple entries, so I don't have to mess up and make those tinkering mistakes you just talked about. Maybe we do that tomorrow with DFS, but excited to be back. Excited that the season is finally here.
And you've had a lot of success at this tournament before. I was telling you that I don't like the 39-man no-cut fields. It's just like, ugh. But you kill this one.
I usually like smaller fields in a lot of different things. Like in basketball, a 6 to 8 gamer is much better than the 13 to 14 gamers. Smaller, the better. Same thing in golf for this. I think just the ownership will congregate in a lot of spots. It'll be balanced across the board in some way, shape, or form, but there will be guys that we hit later. Sung Jays, the Wises, all those types of guys where you see they have huge ownership that you can just find a way to get different in these tournaments and level up that way.
All right, so I did say that I was going to give out a winner, give away a free entry to the people who screenshotted me their entries into the tournament, and the winner is at CR Sims 4. I assume that's Craig Sims the 4th, maybe, IV, like David Moreland IV.
Nice.
But you're the winner. I'll DM you your free entry, so congratulations on having 2 entries into the race for the Mayo Cup. So I'm going to give out another few of them here. So what do you think the best way to do this is? I was going to say if you screenshot me that you have 2 entries in the race for the Mayo Cup, that I'll give away like 4 more to those people.
That's a great way to do it.
So there we go. There's the new one. So on Twitter at the PME, screenshot me the fact that you have 2 entries in the race for the Mayo Cup, and then you are eligible to be in the draw for another free entries, and I'll give away 4 of those to the winner. So we're really up the ante here.
Yeah, and everybody that has 2, definitely 3 max is the best way to play.
It's 5 max.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying if they get their third because they have 2, your contest that you're doing, they'll get a third. They get to play it like a 3 max, and they could add more if they want. But I love a 3 max.
And are you doing all 5? You said
I did 3.
I'm doing 3 as well.
Yeah, I did the 3 max.
We should probably talk. Do you want to enter the $1,000?
The $1,000?
Yeah, I played in it last year, and I was doing great.
How many people are in it? I didn't look at it.
49.
Yeah, might be something. Yeah, we could enter.
So it is. Yeah, there's 49 people. Top prize is 15 grand. I think it's like 15 grand, 10 grand, 7,500. I think it's the payout.
Three payouts?
No, it pays more than that. Let's see here. Let me click on it and take a look. There's 33 people left in it, so there's 16 open spots, and the prizes are 15, 10, 75, 5, 3, 25, 2,000. It's top 7 pay in that one.
It's actually pretty nice. Yeah,
nice flat payout structure.
Yeah, I do like that. That's what I was looking for, right? And then how much does it pay out versus the rest versus the up top? So yeah, I'll definitely look at it after we get off here.
All right, maybe we both enter. Maybe we split an entry. Who knows? That could be a fun part of the show.
We could add that to the show. The $1,000 entry.
That could be a part of the show.
Yeah, I like that. I like that angle.
So again, if you have 2 entries in the race for the Mayo Cup, or if you have 1, go get another one. Then screenshot it to me. Then you can enter the draw, and I'll give away 4 of those. We'll announce those on Monday with Jeff Feinberg on the show because it'll be as close to full as possible. I want to make sure that you guys get your free entries. I got my bets. Remember that part of the show?
How many do you have for this week?
I got a few.
Okay.
Listen, I'm going to have a few bets on the go here.
So let's see where we line up. You go ahead.
And listen, you can add some to it with me. I was thinking Xander, and we'll get to the Xander situation here in a second. I was thinking about someone at the top of the board, and I was like, you know what? This is how I lose money. Not betting the top of the board and then moving back a little bit to the guys that are most definitely going to come fourth. But I have Morikawa at 22-1, Hovland at 22-1, and Hideki at 45-1, which I just thought was a huge number. Not that I love Hideki or anything, but
it's definitely a huge number. Power at 40. So, if you want to do it that way, I think it's fine.
Hideki's finished top 4 3 times in 5 starts at the scores.
I like Hideki when we get to the DFS conversation, just because people are not playing him. They don't want to, but they want to try him at 9K and plus. And I used to always say never play him over 10K. And now we get him at 8,100. So why not give him a try in a field if nobody's going there? But I like the other two. I have a real big worry in the back of my mind. I know it's all narrative based and all this, but you probably heard about Hovland being over there already and getting his work in advance and being ready to go. He won the Hero. He's been incredible on coastal courses, low scoring, all that. I do have a big worry not to be on him, so great number on him, like Morikawa this week. I took Cantlay, 12-1.
Did you see that picture of him?
Yeah, I saw Nikki as well. She was there. He's looking like he's doing just fine. Khaki shorts, black sneakers, and all. I think he's fine, Pat.
I don't know about that.
I do. Also, I like him on easier courses, and I think it's going to be pretty easy again this week. So I like Cantlay. That picture doesn't bother me at all. I know some doubled down when they saw that picture because
they don't give a fuck. Hey, I'm so rich it doesn't matter. I'll dress how I want.
You've seen the Mai Tai conversation at this course years ago. Those pampered fucks, he says, but you've seen him the picture where he's sitting like chilling out in it looks like by a pool or something. He's got the girls there and the shirt half off. Like, this guy doesn't care, man. He's crushing it. Doesn't matter. I think he's great, so I'm good with him. And then our guy, Tom Jacobs, doing some shows in the past on the Mayo Media Network.
He's going to be on the DP World Tour Picks and Bet show with Skylar Hoke. That's on Mayo Media Network.
Excellent show.
Need your Euro fix.
Yeah, and with some big-time long shots that you can win with as well. 500-1 at one point with Sky. But Tom has been on fire last season. I was putting in the tidbits plenty with the first-round leaders. I don't think he's doing the article this year, so RIP to the article. But he posted a tidbit. I'm bringing them back next week. I'm finishing out NFL Strong, Week 18 NFL tidbits. Next week, PGA back. JT, first-round leader, 16-1. If you want to get your piece, we know he's capable of winning this. 2-time winner here and great in Hawaii. Why not just hop on the first round, though, and just get it done right out of the gate? 16-1.
I don't mind that.
I liked it. I went with it. I'll tail him, give him the credit. I think it's awesome.
I don't have any first-round leaders in, so that's something to get my juices flowing on I guess Thursday evening here. It's going to be like midnight by the time the first round ends up. I'll wake up and see if I won. How about that?
Wake up and collect your money. Yeah.
Yes, that's always a nice way to do it. So I bet a top 5 on Brian Harmon at 6-1. I bet a top 7 on JT Poston at 7-1. And I played a head-to-head, which I rarely throw into these, Harmon over Seamus Power at even money.
Pretty much like it all, yeah. I mean, I like Power a little bit more, but I'm heavier on Harmon. I even took him in our season-long draft that we did here on the channel, so I think he's fine. I love that you took a top 5 for him, but you're like, Poston? Give me those extra 2 spots.
Hey, Harmon has finished 3rd at this tournament in 2 starts before. So.
And a lot of seconds recently, so he's doing just fine. But yeah, going over to the Poston side and adding the 2 more spots definitely makes sense. I like Poston. Probably talk about him later as well.
Yeah, I was going to play the each ways on those guys, but like Harmon was only 45-1 or 50-1 or something. He was the same number as Hideki, which is, again, the main reason that I bet Hideki was just like, why is he in the tier with these guys? I don't get it.
Yeah, people are always worried about Hideki. He's the last one that hasn't gone to live for the withdraw issues with Kevin Na and Louis O and those guys moving over. So I think people are still always thinking about Hideki and the potential for WD.
We'll check in on the weather. Doesn't seem like there's much of a problem, at least right now.
Yeah.
From what we can tell on a Wednesday morning, it's much better than it was when I did the research show on Saturday.
Yeah, keep an eye on it. I was looking too, like the tee time wise. The tee times are not completely spread out. Like, it's not something too much that I'm worried about. So you could always go with that angle. But like you said, as of now, when I was looking on Monday, there was some wind. It's died down. So it could pick right back up. But I don't see anything to worry about as of now.
Yeah, not once during the 4 rounds does it look like it's going to breach 17 miles per hour in terms of gust. Again, it's the weather. It can change. But if this is what we're planning for, just all systems go on whatever narrative that you want to go into it with.
We'll tell you the weeks we're heavier on it, and we'll get it wrong and go the opposite. But yeah, we will do that throughout the season on the show.
So overall, there's 39 players in the field. And again, it's a no-cut event, so you're going to get your juice from all those guys. Except for one year I played Kevin Na, and I think he was like the worst tournament of all time. I think he was like 35 over, and I think he won the next week. Yeah, that's a Sony.
Sounds like Kevin Na.
That sounds like Kevin Na.
Yeah.
There is the Xander thing that came out. He withdrew from the Pro-Am, and you think this is a reliable source. So you're worried, but
I'm never worried. No.
Okay,
It's
not
my common theme has always been the same. People, if only we could get injury reports for golf. You got it. There's your injury report. It's not due to illness. It says a good source that it's possibly injury, and now you have to decide what you want to do. Now what? My case is always the same. This is not a cut week, Pat, but a lot of weeks we play will be a cut event. And how much of your lineups go to the wasteland? 90%? Like it's 10%, 6 to 6 usually. 90% goes to the dumpster. You can try and protect your money by not doing it, but I just have no worries if it's actually going to lower his ownership. We'll see. And I honestly think he'll withdraw before. If it's something that it sounds like where it happened when he got there or since he's been there and he can't move through it, we'll get enough time. Like it's 2:30 Eastern time tee off tomorrow. I think he'll let us know. I know he's in the last group. That's kind of the challenge, but is he really going to wait the extra 2.5 or 3 hours, whatever it is?
He might.
He could. But I'm just saying I'm not going away from it because of that. I'll wait and see.
Would you be hesitant to use him in something like a single entry?
Yeah, I think that's where people, again, it's your money, it's your decision. I just don't think there's enough. Reliable source, yes. How valid? No idea. There's no way to validate it. So maybe you don't put your high dollar stuff on them because you want to protect and hedge a little bit within your portfolio. That way, I could understand it. I'm just saying I'm not going to just get off it because they said he might not play tomorrow.
All right, once again, the Listeners League for DraftKings is down in the description. Let's fill that up so we can make it bigger for the Sony Open. We actually have a cut event, the ones that I enjoy the most, obviously, because there's nothing I enjoy more than having a really nice-looking 5-6 lineup. I think everyone out there is on the same page with that. And if you want to build your lineups and do your statistical research, fantasynational.com/Mayo will get you that 20% off. So go do that right now. Let's talk DraftKings. Different than we're usually doing on this show. So I think I want to follow the formula that we've been doing on the NFL show. People have really enjoyed that. I think it's a little bit different in golf because there's only 6 spots. There's no positions. There's no real like stacks that we're playing unless we're playing win stacks or skill stacks, anything like that. So if I'm just starting my lineup, who did Kenny go with his cash core this week?
So Kenny's cash game cornerstones were Rahm, Xander, we'll wait and see if he makes a pivot or a change there. Morikawa went with the 3 guys up top, and then he dropped down low to Adam Svensson coming off the win to end the season.
Okay, so that would give you Rahm. Again, Rory's out, by the way. I mean, it says that next to his name, but just in case you didn't know.
He was never in. That's the best part.
So
yeah.
Rahm, Xander, Morikawa, and Svensson. How do you feel about Svensson at the bottom? I think he's $6,400. He's very cheap. He can make this lineup work. So with that core 4, that gives you $7,350 for the final 2 players. So you can go up down if you wanted to. You could hit Thigala and someone else at the bottom of the sevens.
We know. I know exactly where he's going because it's pretty obvious. It just lands on Thigala Wise.
Yeah, Thigala Wise. Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to look at it like we do on the football show from that perspective to give us a start here, I don't use a ton of projections for golf because I care more about game theory, the ownership, all that stuff, as we've talked about plenty in the past. On these shows, it's a different format for setting it up. But this, if you want to use Optimizer to compare throughout the show like NFL, this projects for 587.
Okay.
Just to give a number, and then we can start looking at other stuff.
The issue is I don't know whether that's good or bad for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably fine. Like, these are all good cash plays to me. If you look at it, like Rahm, Xander, I guess, Hoagie would have went in there for me somewhere. I would say, like, let me just adjust this really quickly. Take Morikawa out.
Oh, how dare you?
Well, because I'm just going off what I think here. So you take out Thigala, because he'll still be popular, but he's more of a tournament play. Let's go Hoagie and Svensson at the bottom and see what we can do. Yeah, that's what I thought. You get 10-2. You can almost get to Scheffler, but I think this cash line, it does project 5 points higher. So it's Rahm, JT, Xander, and then you've got
double bottom,
Hoagie, Svensson, Aaron Wise. You can also change John Rahm to Scheffler in that one because you have the $300. Forget about JT, and it projects less because the books and everybody and the projections and everything like Rahm more than Scheffler. But just a note, I think that's how it would be, right? People want X before the injury in no cut, short field event. It's what he does. JT in Hawaii makes perfect sense. Wise, everyone's going to play. I guess the other thing is, what do you think about Sung J M? Because Sung J M looks popular at 8,300 as well.
I like Sung Jae enough. I just happen to like all the guys around him, either slightly more, slightly less, the same, and they all project to be way lower owned. So I'm probably just going to go straight fade on Sung Jae. There's a couple guys that I'm just outright not playing this week, and Sung Jae is one of them. Aaron Wise is another one.
Yeah, I was just going to say those two. It's funny you brought those. So Sung Jae, Wise, and I actually think Tom Hoagie falls into the bucket as well.
Yeah, I'm good not playing Tom Hoagie. That's fine. If Tom Hoagie's the one who burns me, yeah, I was fucked anyway.
Yeah. So just of note, I mean, if you're trying to get away from three of those guys in the lineup together, like in that same build that I had, you can keep JT, Xander. And again, if you find out after you're watching the show that Xander has withdrawn or you have a problem with him, you can drop him down to a Morikawa or a Finau or something like that.
Well, it's funny because you keep hitting on these names. If we're going to talk about like ownership and trying to get leverage, the guy who no one is using above $8,000 is Fitz. No one's using Fitz.
Right.
So is he a good play? Because I don't want to use him either. Are you using him?
I'm going to use them, but sparingly, I guess is the word. Like, you look at from the perspective of, I don't know what to expect. Again, I mean, I know you know this, Pat, but just going back, debutants do not do well here. They never have, never contended. He's up in a higher price point, $9,100. But when you look at the debutants we have this year, Zalatoris, Fitzpatrick, Cam Young, Tom Kim, these are names I think we'll be talking about for years to come. So it definitely makes it tougher when you see it from that perspective. He does fit in to me as a good play here. Especially considering you've got Finau, Morikawa, Xander, those guys above him. Maybe he picks up some late steam, but I'm seeing like 12 to 15% as a bucket right now when it comes to ownership. So definitely some leverage in there on Matt Fitzpatrick.
The other one who's wildly underowned, who I will be using a ton of, Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, up top.
Yeah, because everyone's going to Rahm. Like, Rahm is probably going to be the highest owned player, I think. Him or Cantlay, I would say, with like JT and Xander just behind. And then you have Finau, who's going to be super popular. Sungjae, like you mentioned.
I think Sungjae might be the most popular in the slate.
Maybe because it's less to break it up around there. But I mean, why is Sungjae better than Hovland, Burns, Spieth, or Hideki?
Yeah, that's what you have to think about. Yeah, that's the issue.
I don't think that maybe he finishes better. Maybe I think coming into this event and trying to pick players, if one guy is going to be, what do I have him at 29%, and I have Hideki at 12%, Spieth at 15%, like, no, he's not going to beat them more than 50% of the time.
Yeah, the main issue is the ownership. This is what we'll always get into, but the ownership, the game theory of it, all that. But like I always say, it's not who you play, it's how you play them. Is Sungjae a good play? Is Sungjae underpriced? I think absolutely. At 8,300, that's why the ownership is flocking there. Look at the stats, look at the form, look at everything going on with Sungjae. Makes him a good play at 8,300. But like you said, when you've got Hovland 85, Burns 84, Burns and Homa stand out to me. I know we talked about the Hovlands and the Spieths and the Matsuyamas. Homa's been grinding just in his own right. I know he's got the baby swag too that you could be coming off of.
There we go. Easy sell.
But again, look at guys that win like Homa, Burns. They've won a bunch more than Sungjae, and they're right there for $100 or $200 more. They can contend here. Hovland just won in a field kind of like this recently that you can look at him at 8,500. So I don't see that you have to go to Sungjae, and I think guys like Sungjae and Wise, the two that you brought up, are the good pivots for when you get into something like a single entry. But I understand if someone says, well, I'm already on Scheffler and Fitzpatrick to start my lineup, well, then it's probably fine to plug those guys in. Again, it always comes down to your whole lineup construction and not just this guy versus that guy. Who do I play? Well, it depends on some of the other factors.
I'm good with not playing. I mean, I like Xander a lot. I think everyone kind of likes Xander. They're waiting to see on this news about whether he's actually injured or not. But I'm good with not playing him at $9,500 because I don't think the ownership's going to be impacted. I think people are just going to play him.
Yeah, I still think he's going to be between 20 to 25.
Yeah. So if that's the case, you also have, who was the other one? Zalatoris is probably going to push 20% when it comes down to it. I just don't know what he is going to be coming off this injury. He hasn't played in ages. That if he's another guy, if he kills me this week, get my lumps out early in the season. But I'm good with not playing him either.
The higher owned he gets, the harder it gets for me to move a bunch of shares there. I will say conflicted because two things. One, what do I always say about him? Like, we don't want to play him in a birdie fest, and there's going to be lots of birdies to be had out there, but he obviously puts it in tight. One of the best ball strikers in the world, assuming he's good off this long break, the back surgery, getting married, all these other factors, first time seeing the course. But Kenny brought up a good point on our podcast about how the course changes have made, like in the past, the reason it was that debutants kind of didn't have the best run out was because they haven't seen the pin placements, all this with the changes and stuff they've done. It's kind of newer for everybody a little bit, so it's not something that people can lean on as much. But then lastly, the other side of the coin is if you look at the numbers over the last, I think it's 2018 to now, strong fields. Again, since Zalatoris has been on tour, I should say, it doesn't really matter, but he falls into the class with just lower rounds, but good enough sample size. Stronger fields is where he comes through. But it's also because a lot of those tougher events and the majors and things like that. So it's hard to really pick a side on this one, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to pick my side and just not play him.
Yeah. I'm always okay with not playing Zalatoris at higher price. 8,900 is kind of a good price tag just to sort of suck you in. I always call it Best Buy pricing, $8,900. Not quite 9,000. He's cheap. You can get him in there. I don't know. He's just a little bit over average price point, but I prefer Cam Young if I'm playing a debutant at similar ownership, at everything, all of those factors. I still prefer Cam Young at 8,800.
And I know that Tom Kim is going to be popular. I like Tom Kim. I am playing Tom Kim.
I would lean out on him more than Zalatoris. The guy's good. He's incredible.
I would go the other way with it. At least I know Tom Kim can putt.
It's true. That's why
it's not like his irons are bad. They're top 3 coming into this over the past 50 rounds.
Yeah.
And we've seen this style of player. Like, I know driving distance. I mean, this can get conflated a little bit because I forget who it was who put it out. I think it was, I can't even remember.
What did they put out?
It just like the correlation between strokes gained stats and different stats and the performance at this course versus some of the other courses. And driving distance really rated out very highly. Now, is that because the best players in the field are all the guys who, like, just look at this field. From top to bottom, you have your good players, you have your bad players who won jabroni tournaments. Most of the jabroni players are not long hitters.
Right.
So, of course, they're not going to beat the guys at the top who have the longer driving distance.
Exactly, and that's typically what it comes down to. Oh, it's a bomber, like at U.S. Open, kind of, in a way. And U.S. Open is that spread, too, because you qualifiers, amateurs, we know we're not including them. Bigger field, but I'm just saying, it's always, we know what the mold that fits this course. Yeah, the best players all have those skill sets.
Best players play good.
Yeah, like they all are pretty long, and that's why they're good and part of their game. They all have good irons. They all have good a wedge game or something that differentiates them. Again, there is outliers, of course. I don't know about that with Tom Kim. Like you said, again, the guy's going to either continue this hot run, but like you said, at least he can putt. So I don't hate that angle from you. And again, he really comes down to what you give him from a skill set perspective, because he's not going to pop in a lot of the people are playing him because they saw the guy win twice and how good he is, and at the President's Cup and all these factors, he's very good.
I mean, he pops for me when I looked at my numbers.
Yeah, so I mean, if he does, that's why I would go with him there. I'm definitely happier getting on board with Cam Young or Max Homa.
So this is the big question for me then when I'm constructing my lineups, and obviously you can play up to 150 in some of these contests. We're not talking about 150 here. Like, you're playing 1, 3, 20. We'll try to max it at 20 with something like this. So you have to really narrow down your player pool. Can't play everyone in a 39-man field, even with 20 lineups. So when you're doing your construction, you talked about there are Scheffler-Thomas lineups you can play, or Cantlay-Xander lineups you can play. What if you just started with Cam Young?
Oh, God.
Is that too?
I think way too for this tournament.
You could go Cam Young, Homa, Hovland, Spieth, Hideki as 5 guys in your lineup and still have someone. You don't have to go into the 6s. You can go upper. The problem is I don't like the 7s. I have no idea what to do in the 7s. I like Theegala. That's it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways I would do that differently then. To your point, is that okay? Maybe. I don't like it because I think, again, two notes. One, the best of the best is above 9K here. Like, look at those dudes. Secondly, the winners, you know it from betting that I think it's what is it, all 20-1 or worse odds that have won this tournament. So we want funny stuff this week out there in the threads on the Twitter space and all that, but we want the winner. So we do want to find the winner. That is correct.
I have been doing this wrong.
So if we think it's up top in that, I will say this, though. I did look at this, and it was interesting. I know there's only 2 guys up top, technically, in Scheffler and Rahm. And if you want to lump JT and Cantlay into there, that's fine. But what if you did, like, a Morikawa Finau with 2 high 8Ks, and then you skip the 7s? And you get that FOMO of, but I don't have Aaron Wise, or I don't have some of these Theegalas and the Powers and the ones everybody wants to play. But who cares? Let's just say the 6K guys are similar to them and Scott Stallings comes through or something like that. Like, Scott Stallings versus Seamus Power? Probably want Power, but why not just take Stallings in something like this? Who cares? Gets all 4 rounds, can score, goes low, par 5s, all those factors. To me, they're not that much different, so I could just do it that way. 2 9Ks, 2 8Ks, skip the 7s, drop down.
Do you think that's probably the best lineup construction that you can go with this week? Because I'm trying to figure out where I want to pool my players at. Like, where do I want to play the roulette and interchange everyone? Because I want to take a stand either at the top or the bottom, maybe both, and kind of play a lot of these 8K guys together to see if I can hit the right combination. I just need to be right about the top and right about the bottom when I go into it. So the 2 guys above 9 that I want to play the most are Scheffler and Morikawa.
I was just going to say, when you asked, do I think that's the best line? No, I think it's not common because we know the guys that I said, like Wise and those that are fitting in to the lineups as the one-offs, so I like skipping them. But to bring it up, like going back up to the top, again, I'll go down with it early in the season on someone like Scheffler coming in at this ownership to Rahm. I took him in the draft. I like him for that reason, but not just that. In general, I think it makes sense. And Scheffler is the guy that you see up top that I see as just sort of the best play on the board up there. and then fitting guys in. And you could still go Scheffler with a Morikawa or Scheffler with a Finau. Like Scheffler Finau. Let's do that.
Okay, so let's build that one out. Scheffler. See, Scheffler at 10-3 and Finau. I like Morikawa more than Finau this week, but that's me. You have $7,600 left per player. So I guess I should ask, who do you like in the 6Ks?
Yeah, I was just going to say, too, by the way, if you go Scheffler, Finau, Morikawa, your average is still 7,000. So we do have to talk about the 6K range for the same reason. But
okay,
I'm saying that's the point. Yeah, let's just go to 6Ks.
Let me throw Morikawa. Actually, let's throw Homa into this one.
I like Homa.
Homa at 60 or at 86. Now we have 72. I like Mullinix near the bottom. I think that he sets up pretty well for this course. Again, we're talking about guys who have a lot of length. He's got a lot of length.
Yeah.
And when you go and look at how he has been playing, essentially since he won, he is not the most consistent player in the world. I think that we know that about Trey Mullinix at this point. However, the difference between him and Luke List, because I think they're very similar players in a lot of ways, is Trey Mullinix really can't chip to save his life, and generally he is bad at putting. However, he does have these spikes, like 4.6 in Houston for a fourth-place finish, 2.6, 3.5, 3.1. And that's so, like, 4 of his past 8 events, he has gained at least 3 strokes putting. He's lost 4, 2, 6 in some of them, so he's been really bad on the other side. But when you think about Luke List, pretty good chipper, but he's not gaining strokes putting in 4 of 8 events. It's just not happening for him. So at least I might get lucky with the putting with Mullinix, and the iron play has been great, the driving has been great, and listen, if he has to utilize his around the green here, he's not doing well. These are giant greens.
You're already dead anyway.
Yeah.
That's exactly, that's what someone said, and I think that was a good comment I saw. There was like, if you're worried about, if they got a chip, you're already done, right? You're screwed anyway. So if you're playing for that, and like I said, so many lineups go down with the wind anyway, like they get crushed, that it's fine that if you just go with that. So I like the Mullinix call. I think that is, though, Pat, why people are gravitating towards Tom Hoge. Because when you look at his stats recently, you see his opportunities gained. Talk about Fantasy National. Within 15 feet, right, is what that one is. If he's getting you there, maybe he's not the best putter, but if he is finding the putter, and what's his putting stats been like lately, I think?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
He was poor at the RSM, but that was really about it. He is coming off 2 missed cuts to end the swing season.
Yeah.
Missed at Mayakoba and missed at the RSM. So it's not like he's in the best form ever. And we see him go through this. Like, he won last year. He had a 4th at the RSM, a 2nd at the Amex, 1st at Pebble, 14th at Phoenix. Then he has, like, middling results, comes back a little bit, 9th the PGA Championship, missed 6 cuts in a row.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you're dealing with at the bottom here. Now, obviously, these guys aren't going to miss cuts, but if everyone is just gravitating towards Hoge, I don't see why he's a substantially better play than fucking Chez Reavie.
Oh, God.
Like, I don't like Chez Reavie, but
No,
they're similar type players. Obviously, Chez won last year. That's why he's here. So, like...
Yeah, the Mullinix call, I was fine with that. I think that one's good. I get Svensson as well, why people are going there coming off the win. I can see it.
Good lag putter, too.
Yeah, the thing about Svensson, like you said, too, is also, it's always the same. Like, he reminds me of the same thing. Why would you play him? Is because he can do, to me, he can do the same thing Hoge can do. He can put it to 10, 15 feet, and then it's all about does he make the putt or not. But at this price tag, you're just having a battle between them. My interest is actually in the upper range. I just want to take Mullinix out for a second. I'm going to leave Scheffler, Finau, Homa, and just see if you go Poston and Stallings. Yeah, see, you still get to 8,400.
So you like Stallings?
I do.
Okay.
I'm just taking a shot. His numbers aren't going to show. Recent form is king. He doesn't have it from what I see, but I'm just saying in general, I'm taking a shot down in this range anyway. He's $100 more than Hoge. Looks like he's coming in at lower ownership. We know he can score at times. He made a bunch of money last year by just going to these tournaments where you can just find a putter and get lucky with it and start making money that way. So I think this is another good spot to do it. He's long enough off the tee. I think it all makes sense.
Do you think he got his off-season routine in?
I bet he did.
Cycled up a bit?
I think he did. He cycled up.
Get back ready for 2023?
The S in stalling stands for steroids. I don't know if that's true or not, but it could be.
Scheffler, Finau, Homa, Stallings, Poston. With those 5, you have 84, like you said.
And my guy.
You could use Sungjae in this lineup if you wanted to. I think this one is contrarian enough, and you'd leave $100 on the table, and you could use Sungjae without feeling the massive ramifications of him being 35% owned. But you could use Burns, or just drop down to Spieth or Matsuyama or Harmon if you wanted to.
Okay.
Like, they're all in that spot.
Yeah, I agree. And let me ask you this, though. The Burns versus Im thing, this has, been on my mind, at least anyway. Like, what's the ownership difference between those guys? But sorry, Hovland, Burns, Im.
So what I'm looking at right now now, Hovland at around 18 to 20%.
Makes sense.
And listen, the projections are going to be worse this week than probably limited field events, and small field events are hard to project ownership. So you really have to expand your range, because one of these guys is going to come in hilariously under-owned, and one of the lower-owned guys is going to come in hilariously over-owned.
Right.
So I have the projection at Sungjae for 30% right now, but if he was 43%, I wouldn't be super stunned at the same time either. I think he's a pretty safe one to be, like you said, probably the highest owned guy, could be the second highest owned guy, whatever it is. So you have Hovland at like 18 to 20, Burns at like 15 to 20-ish, somewhere in that range, the upper teens. Sungjae from 30 to 35, let's say. And then below that, you have Hideki from like 10 to 15, Spieth like 13 to 18, and then Billy Horschel's like 6%, but I don't want to use Billy Horschel.
I'm going to use the Billy Horschel this week. I will say that. I know he hasn't done well, but in the past, and you look at him here, but you never know with Billy what he can find. He was a big talker last year too, so let's see.
He did talk a lot of shit.
He definitely talked a lot of shit. 7,900, maybe I'm getting sucked in, but he can. I'll find out. He's $100 less than Harman. What's the real difference between those two? Not that much.
When you put it that way,
they even have the same initials.
When you put it that way, sure. And I dislike both these players. And I bet on Horschel all the time, and I never bet on Harman. I'm flipping it this week. Okay. So that's probably good news for Billy Ho. But let me ask you this. What's the difference between Brian Harman, Billy Horschel, and for how much less is this? For $1,000 or $1,200 less, like, isn't Mac Hughes kind of in their same territory?
Yeah.
Like, just hit the green, man. Make some 20-foot putts. Be on your way.
By the way, Max Homa, another MH. We did the BH with Brian Harman, Billy Horschel. Max Homa, baby swag from end of October. Mac Hughes, the other MH, another Mac, he's got his baby swag from December 2nd, 2022. So stars could be aligning on Mac Hughes, our Canadian brethren there, at 6,900. Nice number there, too.
Outside of Captain Ramius, who's the Stone Min at 6,000, who's like 1% owned, and Ryan Brem, who no one's going to go to either. I prefer Brem over Ramey if you really needed to do it, but I don't want to play either. What did Brem win? Do you remember? I wouldn't hold you to it. I just don't remember. It was either Puerto Rico or Corrales. I'm pretty sure.
And didn't Ramey win the other one?
Yeah.
Like two coastal style setups, man. Maybe.
It's funny because Brem bombs it. And I think it was like the only cut he made all year. Yeah. Because he is not good. Let's see. How'd he do? Yeah, oh my God. He won in Puerto Rico, his first start of the year, and then missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of his next 20 cuts.
Pretty good.
With no finish better than T31 that was in Minnesota.
Sorry, not good. Pretty impressive, though. It's hard to do.
Good consistency.
Good consistency. Missing that many cuts. What about Ramey? You can't go to these guys, can you? Like, come on.
Let's see. With Ramey's missed 4 in a row, and he's missed 10 of his last 12 cuts.
Yeah. I got a real hard time with those guys at the bottom. Look, you'll be like, contrarian with them already, but
like, listen, there's something about like, listen, Seb Straka, Poston, Hoagie, Svensson, like those are usually 7K players in a regular DFS DraftKings slate in your average tournament. Brem and Ramey are always the minimum.
Yeah.
No matter what the field is.
The two I would take the shot, and I'm with you on Mullinex over List, but I also would take a shot on JJ Spawn just for scoring. Right, we've seen him go low plenty. It's not my favorite. I'm just saying it. Like at least those two, Mullinex and Spawn. I know what I'm getting into, but I'm willing to take some risk on them. The guys from Svensson up to Mackenzie Hughes, you can make an argument for them. They're fine. Like all those guys, if you want to play them, go ahead. I guess the bigger thing to go back to the original question, Pat, was like Homa, Hovland. Those guys, Burns, they win a bunch of tournaments. Im does not win a bunch of tournaments, and he's the chalk for the price and the Vegas odds and all of that. So if I'm making a pivot there, I just have no problem at all going to the guys around them. Even though you're not getting an insane ownership spot, maybe you get 5 to 10 points. I'm just saying if your lineup's already filled with other chalk pieces, in our case, this is to bring up back to the original point, Scheffler up top instead of Rahm, and a 10K guy instead of no 10K guy.
By the way, I am not playing John Rahm this week.
Good point to add in. Well, we can go back there in a second.
I'm playing Scheffler instead. I only have so many lineups. I got to make my choice. I'm playing Scheffler.
And that's great because I think other people are off it and just playing Rahm or JT. So I like that.
That's why I'm doing it.
But to bring that up, and that's fine. I like it. I'm saying, but that's where I'm going with this is like, okay, when you said it yourself, this is why you could play him in this lineup. But the reason, like for everyone listening, Scheffler, not Rahm or JT. Finau, not Cantlay, X. We'll see what happens with X or Morikawa. So you're different there. Homa, when everyone's on Burns, Hovland, and Tom Kim. And then you go down to the bottom and you're using Post and Stallings in this lineup when people are using Spence and Hoagie. You're off everybody pretty much in the range. You have no 7K guy in Aaron Wise or Thigala. So now this is why when people ask that 1v1 question, well, look at the rest of your lineup. Im is fine in any lineup, but I mean, if you want to do it, but for me, I don't want to put him with Wise, with Hoagie, with all the same guys that everyone else is putting him with. In this lineup, he sets up just fine.
Quick ask about some of these guys in the 7Ks. Like I said, I think the only one that I'm going to play is Sahith Theegala because I like him. Very good leg putter as well. I just like his game. I feel like he has the swag to contend with these guys.
He's always worth it on DraftKings, especially when you're getting a no cut and all that. Because
he's going to score.
Two things about him. Yeah, he scores, but also even when he you'll see him be like, oh, I went with Sahith again. And he just shot. He's 8 over. Oh, by the way, now he's shooting 6 under through 6 because he doesn't give up. He just goes back at it and keeps firing. So you got to love that with him. Here, I do worry a little bit with the ownership on that range of Wise, Theegala, Power. When above it, you have...
Yeah, but almost to quote yourself, it's how you play them, right?
Oh, for sure.
So with Theegala, the reason that you're seeing stuff build up here, because you have this like mask of 4 guys in the low 7s that are really popping in ownership. It's Keegan, Wise, Theegala, and Power, with Power being the highest. It means that people are playing 2 of those guys in every lineup.
Yeah, and I don't believe Keegan.
I don't believe
We'll
Keegan.
wait and see what comes
I don't
out.
believe Keegan either,
Yeah.
but Wise, Theegala, Wise and Power for sure, Theegala just below them. But usually you're going to see 2 of those guys in a lineup.
Yeah, I believe heavily in Wise. I actually think Wise will be the highest owned of those 3. I'm leaving Keegan out completely. I think it's Wise, then it's a Power or Theegala right after it.
Do you think we can build the most chalk lineup of the week?
I think we did.
Let's see. We got Power. And who was the guy from down low who everyone's using?
Well, it's M Wise JT. I don't even know if Power fits it yet.
Let's see. Hoagie is the guy from down low. So in the 6Ks, it's Hoagie. And Mullinix is getting a lot from, according to Fantasy National, Mullinix is very popular.
In this type of build, you just stop.
But I think that could be a Fantasy National thing where people are looking at the numbers like, oh yeah, it's a pretty good price, 62 for Mullinix and what he's been doing. I don't know if like your average guy with NFL money left over entering these contests like, who the fuck is Trey Mullinix?
That's what I mean.
So that also makes the projections a little bit trickier here because like Poston is popular amongst like generating lineups right now at like 15%, but his projected ownership is like 10%. It's Hoagie, the one who really stands out here. Hoagie and Power. So let's say Hoagie, Power, and Im in a lineup.
I would bet large sums on Wise ownership versus Power. Wise is going to be higher owned than Power.
You think so?
Definitely.
Okay, so let's throw Wise in. Like I said,
I mean, look, everyone's betting Power too. That's the other thing I'll say about this. Everyone's betting Power
as a hedge.
Well, I think that's what will end up happening is say, all right, I already bet him anyway because he got bet down from like 50 to I think 35.
And people are pretty big on Seamus Power, who has never shown anything in a good field.
That's the interesting part for what you're doing with them, but I don't know. Maybe I'm way off. Again, I've got them pretty close right now. I'll tell you this: I said large sums. Maybe I'll back down a little bit and come back off the ledge. But I will say,
JT Cantlay. Do you think it's JT Xander or JT Cantlay as the most common start?
I think it's Rom JT.
Rom JT.
I think Rom is one of the higher owned on the slate. So I think Rom JT is where you start it.
Okay.
And then you go Im. What happens when you go Im Wise Power?
All right, so
you land on 7,200.
I don't even need to use Tom Hoagie in this lineup. You can go Sungjae, Wise, Power, Rom, Thomas. That gives you 72. What if we take out Power, like you said, and use Hoagie, who I do have projected as very highly owned, and then you have 79. That doesn't get you high enough. That's the problem with the 7,000, because you have Horschel, Connors, Henley, Adam Scott, who no one's fucking using.
Right. That's so before we started talking about that, that's what I was going to say. I think that you got that range. Horschel, Connors, Henley, even Scott.
And then Keegan won't be as high as the 3 that we talked about, but he's going to be above those 4.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I would agree with that fully. And like I said, coming off the ledge and just backing up my my take there is maybe Wise. I have Wise around 23% ownership is where I see him. I see Power around 18 to 20. So they're still high. It's not a big difference.
Like
I was saying I would bet for sure that I lean that it's Wise. I'm 5 points off where I'm saying it's Wise over Power. That's where I see it. But it doesn't really matter as much for DFS. I was just stating that, if it was a bet one or the other, I would bet the Wise side. But going back to it, Im, Wise, Thomas, Rom, Hoagie, we have to do something different. Like it's almost like, do you think people just come off Rom?
Yes.
And go to
Xander.
And do we have
Cantlay.
to say Cantlay now because of the Xander news?
I don't necessarily think we have to. I think it depends on if we take out Rahm and use Cantlay, what does that allow us to get to? I think it's Brian Harman would be my guess.
It looks like it.
It gives you Spieth, Matsuyama, and Harman. People seem to be, Spieth's not going to be unowned.
No.
And Spieth's going to be more popular than Hideki. I have Harman projected as higher owned, but I think when left with the choice, people would use Spieth out of these three.
I think I found it. Here's what I think people will really like. We'll see if they get to it. I think it's actually a decent lineup.
If we take out Thomas.
I got a good one for you, Pat.
Okay, I just readjusted mine, but go ahead.
JT, Finau. Oops, I'm putting the wrong guy here. I put in Homa. I meant to put Tom Kim, and then you don't have
I think that's the other super common build. The one that I have here is
go ahead,
Cantlay and Xander and Hovland, Hoagie, Wise, Sungjae.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That leaves $100. I think that's going to be a very common lineup.
I found.
So all you really need to do, though, is take a look at that lineup and just kind of reverse engineer it in a few spots, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's see, instead of using Sungjae, let's use Hideki.
What was the full lineup again, just so I can plug it in? Sungjae?
Sungjae, Wise, Hoagie.
Hovland,
Cantlay, Xander. So we can go from Im up to Burns in that lineup, if you really wanted to do that. And instead of using Hoagie, you can go down to Mullinix. And now
you're already different enough, doing that. So.
But there you go. They're your two changes off the chalk lineup, and maybe you feel very comfortable with that. I don't like this lineup because I don't want to play Cantlay and Xander because I like losing money. But there's different ways that you can fudge this. Like you can go from Xander to Finau, who's going to be super popular as well, and then your Hovland can go up to Tom Kim or Will Zalatoris if you wanted.
Yeah, just when talking about getting different though, while still having some great plays. Like if you love Hovland, Wise, Finau, on surface you're like, well, man, that seems like a pretty popular lineup. But in the same build you just had, Pat, 3 guys to fill it out: Mullinex, Cantlay, and Zalatoris. That is completely unique.
You said Hovland, Wise, and who?
So you go with Cantlay, then Finau.
No, who are the 3 that you said? If you like
Hovland, Wise, Finau.
Okay.
Are all pretty popular on this slate.
Yeah.
As is Cantlay. So I'll run through this one in a second. So add in Cantlay. Then you get Zalatoris and Mullinex to round it out. But while it still has all these popular plays in it, like if you look at Hovland, Wise, Finau, Cantlay, you're like, oh, those are all pretty popular plays. This is where it gets confusing to people because they're like, oh, I can't play all those guys. They're so popular. But wait a minute. I've got Cantlay with nobody from the top, Rahm or Scheffler, no JT, no X.
And no Xander.
No Morikawa. Like I have none of those top guys up there.
Now, Finau's going to be like Morikawa is below Thomas, Xander, and Finau when it comes to ownership.
Right, but how often is he the second guy in with only Cantlay and with Zalatoris right on his ass, right behind him? Not very often.
True.
So that setup of your lineup is different, and then you have Mullinex at the bottom rounding it out. Like you're way off the board already with this, and this lineup still actually projects better than the original one we did at the top of the show. Is just an example, and I don't care about the projections as much, just to show I use it to kind of balance. Like, am I going way too stupid here with a Ramey or a guy like Brem? Or am I building a good lineup that still has chalkier pieces? But again, you got to remember, Pat, I've got no power. I've got no Im in this lineup. I've got no Tom Kim. I've got no Hoagie. I've got no Xander, no X, no Rahm, no JT. Like, this lineup is still, well, having popular pieces, it's not way off the board, and you still get some of your favorite guys. You get Cantlay, Willie Z, Tony Finau, Wise. You get some of the guys you want to play this week without going crazy, but your lineup is still off the board.
Did you see Finau's new swing?
It looks interesting. It's kind of like Furyk Wolf-esque. Now they're saying he's maybe just doing it in practice because it helps him set up for what he actually does. What I saw was pure confidence, as always, swagger. Tony Finau,
he was striping it.
He doesn't give a shit because he's like, he's so good right now, man. It's incredible. So he's a guy that's just a fun watch. Love it. The price is probably wrong on him at $9,300. Again, get different with your lineups with him like this. But my point would be, man, it's hard to get away from a guy like him on a course like this. The setup, the scoring, 9,300, 4 full days, all those factors. Looks good.
I'm trying to figure out who I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play Rahm. I'm not going to play Cantlay. I'm not going to play Zalatoris. I'm not going to play Sungjae. I'm not going to play Wise or Power or Hoagie. So I'm just going to cross those guys off my list. Just X them out to try to build my 20 lineups worth. I don't know what to do with Justin Thomas because I think he's a good play. I think he's a good price. I don't know how I want to mix him in. and I don't know what to do with Fitzpatrick.
I think you can play both of them with the moves you're making already. That's my point.
Sure, but I have a lot of guys, like I'm in the 8s. I have stars next to Young, Kim, Homa, Hovland, Burns, Spieth, Matsuyama, and Harman. Like, I can't play all those guys. I have to cross some of those guys off the list.
We just have to build that lineup real quick. Not to stop you, but you said, what does it look like here? So who's your guy? You said Young, Kim.
Oh, I built the lineup. If you want to hear.
Yeah. What do you got? What is it? That's what I'm curious.
It is. Let's see. Kim, Homa, Hovland, Spieth, Matsuyama, Thigala.
Homa, Hovland, Spieth, Matsuyama, Thigala. Here's the thing. It can score very well. The winner definitely can be on here.
But if it's not, you're fucked.
And what does it leave a bunch of money on the table too?
I don't believe so.
Homa, Kim, Hovland, Spieth, Matsuyama.
Yeah, it leaves $600 on the
Thigala.
table. Like, you could get up to someone. The reason why this lineup was difficult for me to construct was because of Thigala, and there's no one in those upper 7s that I like.
Right.
Like, if I want to use Billy Horschel, I could. If I want to use Corey Connors, I could. I don't want to use those guys.
Speaking of that, pivoting real quick, but we talked earlier about skill set lineups. Because, again, that lineup, I think the reason I want to go to this, because I think that lineup's going to score pretty well. Those are all guys that can score. If you were building we're building like a stats lineup, but like the scorers, right? Just the best price for like we want Thigala because he can go nuclear and score you a bunch of points over 4 days. Who are some of the other guys you want in the lineup? Finau?
Yeah, I mean, just based on DraftKings scoring per round, to look at it over the past...
Yeah, let's do that. If you've got it up there, I can plug them in as we go.
Over the past 50 rounds, Finau, I mean, the top 5 are Finau, Xander, Cantlay, Zalatoris, Scotty Scheffler. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Those are like...
Finau's one, though?
Finau is... Yeah, well, Rory was by far number 1, but
right.
he is not playing.
Yeah.
So Finau is number 1. So after those like big 4 after him, the Xander, Cantlay, Zalatoris, Scheffler, it's Cam Young, Max Homa, Tom Kim.
Okay, so... I really like this for another reason. We could stop on it for a second, talk about it. So this was my point to your starting with the 8K guy lineup. Mm-hmm. We're not going to end up too much different here. And it's actually funny because I'm about to do it. Because remember we did Kenny's cornerstones earlier and we landed on Wise Thigala to round it out. This lands on Wise Power to round it out. But if you go Finau, Young, Kim, Homa, which is 3 8K guys. I don't know how many people get to that with just one guy above. Usually, like I said, 2 9K, 2 8K and drop down.
You're still in the 7s.
You land on Wise Power, but is this different enough? I don't know. It projects pretty good. It is scorers, and I'm not sure where Wise and Power show up on your list there. But we know, I mean, they definitely could score.
Wise and Power are in the top half, at least. Let's see. Wise is in between Hovland and Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And Power is, it goes... Once we get to like number 12, number 11 is actually Keegan. Then Hovland, Wise, Fitzpatrick, Mullenix, Burns, Power, Thigala, Hoagie.
Yeah, this is a cool thing just to play off of. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on it, but just to say that is like when you start this at Finau, you could argue Finau's, I mean, he's been winning more than all these. He's been winning more than Morikawa, Xander, Cantlay. He's been winning more than all of these guys and has the form coming in.
Three wins in his past 7 starts.
Right. And so is it feasible that he gets another win? I mean, is it likely?
Yeah.
Probably not, but if he does, is it possible? Absolutely. So you start with him. You end up with Kim, Young. So my point would be no Scheffler, no Rahm, no JT, no Cantlay, no X, no Kawa. None of those guys in your build. You drop down. No Sung J M. You went with the upper 8K range of Homa, Kim, and Young. You have no him. You don't have him in there. You don't have to go Wise and Power to round it out, but I'm saying you still have no Hoagie. You still have a lot of guys missing.
You could go Mullenix back into the 8Ks.
I'm about to look at that. That's why I said it's a good exercise.
You could go Mullenix, Spieth if you wanted to, or maybe Burns. I don't know what.
Mullenix, Burns. Look at that lineup.
That's a pretty good lineup.
That is a good lineup. And again, 4 8K guys, to your original point where I was like, I don't know. But when you start it with Finau and round it out with a low punt in Mullenix, it's definitely a lineup that has upside at a tournament like this.
So do you think that having one of those punts in there is the move?
Definitely. I think Stars and Scrubs has always been the best way at these types of tournaments. The pricing is not fixed. I know it's the first event, and DraftKings is moving it forward based on that, but that was the funny part about the Rory situation, how they left him in there and did who cares? If they took him out, the price, it would have bumped Rahm to 10.5 instead, or Scheffler to 10. They would have just changed it slightly like that. The pricing is still wrong for the way they set it up. It's how it's going to be. Wrong in the sense of, could Scheffler be 11.5 here? Yes. Could Brem be 5,000? Yes, they just don't do that anymore. That's not their pricing structure, so that's the setup that we run with.
I used to like when they did that.
I liked it better. I wish they would do it. It makes it like here's my point. Going back, remember the Mexico Open? Rahm was like 11-5 and was what, a 2-1 favorite to win the tournament. I know it got a lot harder to get him over the finish line, but he got the win in the end. He should have been priced at 15,000. It was 2-1 and then like 12-1. That was the odds on that tournament. That's what we're seeing with this pricing. But just to say it, that lineup is great. A 9K, 4 8Ks, and a 6K. You have no 10K. You have no 7K. You don't have Im. You don't have Wise. You don't have Hoagie. You don't have JT, Xander, Rahm. This lineup projects better again than the guys that we talked about off the top, and it still sets up in a similar format.
And if you really wanted to make the switch and go higher, you can keep everything basically the exact same and change Finau. Let's see, how did I do this? You change Finau into Scheffler, and then that would turn Burns into Theegala.
Yeah, again, like
that's a 2v2 in that lineup.
Yeah, and this is what's a good time to bring that up too. The funny part is, like, again, you're playing the 20 lineups, you're setting it up that way. The more lineups you have, I mean, people are going to get, myself included, player pool shamed this week because we use too many guys or whatever. But again, when you're doing a 2v2 like that in a tournament like this, good luck. Like, that's a coin flip. Yeah. Those are both good 2v2s. If you've got the lineups, why would you not convert one to that if you can afford to do it or if you have it? I don't mind doing it, especially when I'm building something like this, so I do that. And then people are like, oh, but he used everyone in the pool. Like, no, a couple guys are 1% or 2% on, but they're part of those 2v2 swaps where I'm over on this guy or that guy, like a Keegan Bradley this week. I'm probably playing more than most. I don't love him. I like that he's priced above that core 3 that we talked about. I like that I think he could still come through. A guy just won recently in tiers, had a bounce back. Him and Henley are guys who just got these big wins that finally got sort of, what if they got a monkey off their back at a value price tag in an event where they're not the worst in the field. They're not the Brems and the Ramies and the Reeves, but we know they're not the JTs, the X's, and those guys. I get it.
I don't know. You said they're going to go on a run. So what I'm hearing is that Russell Henley is the new Tony Finau or Scotty Scheffler.
No. But could you see them show up and get in the top 15 here?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And no one's touching that range. I mean, we just did it with the 8K range, Pat, where we overload it. What if you go Henley, Connors, Horschel?
I don't think you need to do that.
Bradley. I'm just showing it. Then you get, what do you get here? JT and Fitzpatrick. You get, what do you get instead of that? What's the mix? Cantlay? Did you like Cantlay? I guess Cantlay, Morikawa. Here's one to give you. Projects 5 points less than the original, just again using that for this term. Henley, Connors, Horschel, Bradley. 4 7Ks, not many are doing that. 4 7Ks that not many are using. Bradley probably coming in as the 4th highest owned with Theegala, Wise, Power as the difference. Cantlay, Morikawa, 2 of the better plays in this field, probably is from a ball striking, all around, go low type of setup. There's other ways to do it. I'm just saying, using that as the example here. I don't think it's a bad setup.
Let's end with this. 6K guys that you're floating in and out of these lineups, you might end up using way more. Obviously, you're going to use more than me because you're going to play more lineups than me. But I have it narrowed down to 4 of them.
Okay.
Mullinex, Stallings, Poston, and Hughes.
And I'm the same as you on the other 3. Probably more Spawn than Mullinex, but that'd be the 4.
Okay. I mean, listen, I have enough lineups that I can break that up. I don't need to play 40% Mullinex or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a nice, strong move because then you can get...
Until you see how he finishes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean, we can only do going in.
Not so strong of a move.
Results-oriented after the fact, maybe not a good move at all. Maybe not so sharp or smart. But if you look at, like you said, if you want to take a stand, that's a way to do it because then people are like, oh, but Pat played all these guys up top that are 25% owned. Yeah, but Mullinex is his anchor in all of them. You're not... He's what? 15%, 12 to 15% is what I'm seeing right now. I don't see... Even if he gets the steam, I don't see him getting that much more... than that, right? Maybe not even. Maybe he ends up at 10% in this field.
All right. I think that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Let's see if people like this format for golf.
Yeah.
We'll work through it. We'll adjust as we go through.
I actually forget what we did last year. Different.
We just went through all the
tiers,
through the pricing tiers, and then we did the live chat, and then we kind of worked off the live chat. Yeah. We have to go a little bit earlier on Wednesdays now, and it's not really conducive to a live chat because it's really early for people everywhere else.
And it's really early in the season. I mean, obviously, let the people decide. I just think that from my perspective, you can gain way more from looking at roster construction, what the field's doing. We can talk through ownership like we did throughout. I like this format, but I'll do whatever the people want too. I think it is interesting.
We switched to this format in football, and I had by far my best NFL season of all time. Won a lot of money this year, which is fantastic news for me. And it was just through talking it through with you how to properly construct my lineup, and then I was using Run the Sims to fill in the pieces.
Yeah, we're going to do similar, I think. Again, whatever people want, we'll do. But give us the feedback in the comments. I'll do Pat's job for a second. Let us know what you like. If you like this, let us know. If you don't, let us know what you'd like to see different. If you want us to add something to it, always open to that as well. We've got no problem spending the time. It just has to make sense for everybody. So
yeah, it's early in the season, so let's fill up the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League on DraftKings. Rake free, 3 max entry, $15 to play. It's down in the description. And the one and done. For the love of God, start getting your entries in. As I mentioned, if you have 2 entries in the one and done, screenshot that to me, and I'll give away 4 more free entries on Monday's show to anyone who does that. And congratulations again to @CRSims4 on Twitter. You have won a free entry into the one and done, so we had 1. Now he has 2. Now he can screenshot that to me, send it back to me. Hey, he's got 2 entries, so he's eligible for the next draw.
Try and win again, or add 1 more. Get in the 3 max like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's a 5 max. I'm saying get in like a 3 max. If you can't get to 5, I understand it's a little bit more money, but if you want to get a third one in, it's nice to have that balance. You could start with 2 the same pick, 1 offsetting, and if you can keep running that to the end, you might end up having a couple entries up there in the finale.
I'll have all of the cheat sheet notes, the bets, everything like that in my newsletter. I'll send that out on Wednesday afternoon. So after we finish this show and I kind of finalize everything with you, in the coming weeks, you're going to have the tidbits. But the big thing, well, not only do you host Fantasy Golf Degenerates Monday evenings on the Mayo Media Network and the podcast feed, Showdown Thursday night, Friday night with you.
Love it. Showdown season, always my favorite. Some huge wins last year, some great calls right on the show that flipped over to big wins the next day.
Hey, you won $125K on Friday's Showdown at the U.S. Open. I'll never forget it.
Shout out to my guy, Cam Young. Yes, it was definitely a great week. So, yeah, I mean, keep on it. Be on the Mayo Media Network. It's a free show every Thursday and Friday night.
Presented by RunPureSports.com.
We will have it there, yes. So you'll be able to see that. Myself and Hoop 2410 on Thursday. AP will be with me on Friday. And then we'll have the Round 4 show on the Run Pure Sports YouTube channel. You can find me at RunPureSports.com. Check it out. No promo code right now. It's all sports, one price. Best deal there is in the industry. So check that out. And then follow me on Twitter at ToeTagAndTambo. The tidbits will start next week.
All right, and Tambo and I will be back on Friday with the NFL DraftKings picks for the final giant slate of the year for Week 18. Once again, fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself 20% off over there, and you can kind of look through what we're looking through and generate your lineups very easily. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!